do it. Obviously, I'm not going to say perfect legislation. We'll work that process through.
You can do it during a college summer, or you can do it after high school.
If you have a demagogue with a fanatical mass movement of personality cultists who is imposing the program of a group of extreme bankers and finance oligarchs, that's fascism.
Obama's transition site, change.gov, proclaimed that middle school and high school students will be forced to serve the federal government.
Fascism is gutter up, streets up, hooligans, thugs, fervently idealistic students, swarming adolescents, just the kind of thing you see around Obama. The way you get a population to enslave itself when the police and the army are no longer enough to do that. So I think that's if you're a left liberal, it's time to open your eyes to that.
All young Americans between the ages of 18 and 24 will be conscripted into a paramilitary domestic security force. If Obama has his way, adults and seniors will also be forced into other forms of service for the betterment of the homeland. Number 3, disarming the American people. Obama operatives in the Congress have introduced more than 10 bills that would end the Second Amendment as we know it. H.R. 1022 would allow the new Attorney General Eric Holder the dictatorial power to ban any gun he wishes at will. In 2008, before the Supreme Court, in the D.C. gun ban case, District of Columbia versus Heller, Holder argued for the complete disarmament of the American people and that only the military should own firearms. H.R. 257 would ban all youth shooting sports, including YMCA and Youth Olympic shooting clubs. H.R. 45 would force all gun owners to undergo federal psychological screening, registration, and testing to keep their firearms. White House Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel has proposed the extrajudicial banning of any American on the fraudulent no-fly list from owning any firearm.
That is, if you are on the no-fly list because you are known as maybe a possible terrorist, you cannot buy a handgun in America.
Over 25,000 Americans are added each month to the no-fly list, which numbers over 1 million people who have not been charged or convicted of any crime.
It's a case of mistaken identity for a 5-year-old boy from Normandy Park. He had trouble boarding a plane because someone with his same name is wanted by the federal government. King 5's Mimi Jung is live at SeaTac Airport to explain. Mimi.
Lori, it's hard to believe that a 5-year-old could be considered a threat, but that's exactly what happened here at SeaTac last week when Matthew Gardner showed up for a flight to LAX. As 5-year-olds go, Matthew Gardner is about as harmless as you can get. But when he and his mom checked in for their flight at SeaTac last week, Matthew was considered the criminal.
If you're on that no-fly list, your access to the right to bear arms is canceled because you're not part of the American family. You don't deserve that right. There is no right for you if you're on that terrorist list.
And even though this Matthew Gardner is only in kindergarten, TSA workers still conducted a full-blown search.
They searched all of our belongings. They took everything apart piece by piece.
Nadia Counter says it wasn't easy being treated as a possible threat to national security.
Network. We are waging war on corruption every Sunday live 4 to 6 p.m. Central, 5 to 7 Eastern, 2 to 4 Pacific, 3 to 5 Mountain. The websites, the news websites with breaking key intel daily, in fact, a lot of news that becomes national news every week, are Infowars.com because there's a war on for your mind. Prisonplanet.tv has our nightly news show, 7 o'clock Central every evening. The live video streams of the radio show 6 days a week. I'm hiring a bunch of additional reporters and video editors, and I'm even starting a weekly newspaper/magazine that will then go to weekly, and then will become daily down the road. I'm just going to leave it at that, that we plan to roll out nationwide, that is in all the major cities, if things don't totally collapse. And it's going towards that. But if we back the globalist off, we will have time to expand what we're doing, resisting them. I mean, it's really a catch-22, that the more we back off the globalist, the more desperate they get, but that buys us more time. So we're doing everything we can here to defend this republic. Again, the websites are prisonplanet.tv, prisonplanet.com, infowars.com, and infowars.net. Sometimes the big sites go down occasionally, so you have an infowars.net as a auxiliary backup to the big sites, prisonplanet.com and infowars.com. And again, the video site up over 9 years, prisonplanet.tv. Okay, I want to finish up this hour with 8-9 minutes more of the Obama deception made in 2008, 2009. Started making it in October of 2008, released it in March of 2009. And here at the end of the film, I was going through what Obama and his controllers were going to do and how they would bring in a new puppet later to replace him. And you notice that even mainline conservatives are saying Mitt Romney's a nightmare, that he's now really supporting Obamacare. Well, of course, he helped write it. The banks that control him did. We're in a lot of trouble, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of evidence points towards Mitt Romney taking a dive for Obama because they're bought and paid for by the same interest. Who knows what's going to happen? It's like a Don King boxing match. Both horses are completely owned here. Both fighters are completely owned here. This is like WWF or WWE. Then we're going to come back and go to journalist Dan Feidt. He's the guy a few months ago broke that the police were giving drugs to people to make them informants. And then the media said, oh, that couldn't be true. The state police said, we know nothing in Minnesota. Turned out it was all true. Became national news. He's really good at ferreting out documents. This Army document turned out was public, but not on the web. And it's an Army document where they're training for gun confiscation. They call it gun evacuation from your home or your business, and for shooting you if you protest. So, again, the banksters really are pulling all the stops there because they're all going to go to prison if they're not able. They either get total power, all their chips are in here, all their cards are on the table. They're committed. They're going for broke. Train left the station. They're either going to totally take over and win this, or they're all going to jail like Bernie Madoff and Ken Lay. Again, I told you 6 years ago, under Bush, they were shipping guns into Mexico to destabilize it. The last 3.5 under Obama, they gave them hand grenades and stuff and then shipped them to drug gangs in the U.S. That's now coming out, we told you 2 years ago, to blame the Second Amendment. That came out years after. I mean, it's not hard. They did it to blame the Second Amendment, and now they're doing it. How did I know? They admitted 2 years ago they had a gun walker program and were calling to restrict guns and ban semi-autos because of it, blaming the U.S. That's why it's public that the Attorney General and Janet Reno Part 2, Big Sis Napolitano, lied to Congress because we have their press conferences 3 years ago admitting the program. That's how I knew they were doing it to blame the Second Amendment, because they were blaming it. They were already blaming the violence on the gun walker program and saying we've traced guns. Well, yeah, the 20,000 you shipped down there. They're terrorists. They're not Americans. They're globalists. They're crooks. And the fact that I'm on air and able to talk about this shows they don't have all the power. They got the federal government. They've got parts of it. They've got some of the states. They don't have total power. They're the minority. The globalists are a small criminal group. But if they can use the propaganda and the media they control to get us to get in line, they're going to win. And this country's going down. And what other Army documents have come out in the last 2 months that we broke and that the Pentagon responded to and said, yeah, those are real, and you're not supposed to have them. Look it up. Re-education camps in America for people that don't like the New World Order. Oh, yeah. And just because they're dreaming of it doesn't mean they'll be able to execute it. We've got to be in its face. I believe you have courage. I believe that when you hear the facts, you're going to get angry, focused, and take action and speak out. I believe in you. People say, Alex, stop trying to scare people. What, are you cowards? Look, I discovered this and took action against it, and look what I've been able to do, thanks to your support. And other stations around the country that have owners and managers that understand this is real and care about this country and aren't cowards. Plus, they get giant ratings. Well, do the right thing and win. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Our forebears in 1776 did the right thing and won big time. We are winners, not losers. But we're the main enemy of the New World Order. We've been their engine since they captured us, but no more. We're breaking free. We're breaking the trance. Here's a few more minutes of Obama deception. We'll take you out to the next hour. Then we'll come back with our guest, Dan Feidt, and then I'll premiere here on air one of the most powerful reports we've ever produced, humanity's greatest secret, Dreams of the universe. You want solutions? We've got them. Realize your greatness. Here's a little bit more of the Obama deception.
Nadia Counter says it wasn't easy being treated as a possible threat to national security.
I picked up my child to give him a hug and tell him, it's okay, we're doing fine. And they reported to me that I was not allowed to touch him. He was a security risk, and they had to research me to make sure that I had not obtained any materials from him.
Number 4, massive restrictions on the First Amendment guarantee of free speech. The President, Congress, and the FCC have announced plans to not only curtail speech on talk radio and newspapers, but to also regulate speech on the internet.
And they're trying it now.
The Orwellian-named Fairness Doctrine.
And they're trying it right now.
The Obama machine is also pressuring Congress to pass draconian hate speech laws that will eviscerate the First Amendment. Number 5, they plan to further federalize health care so that the government can dictate what kind of care citizens receive. Modeled after the British system, this includes rationing care and restricting what procedures the handicapped and elderly are eligible for. Number 6, Obama is already pushing to expand the Department of Defense budget and to station more U.S. troops overseas to encircle Russia, China, Iran, as well as setting up bases in Africa under the pretext of humanitarian aid, and dominate and occupy Africa through AFRICOM.
So we're taking your phone call, seeing what you think of Barack H. Obama. Is he a Judas goat? Is he a front man? Is he a betrayer? Let's go to Anthony in Georgia. Anthony, what's your take on Barack Obama?
They put the face of Barack Obama as part of their public relations because it's like in the old folk tales about vampires. A vampire cannot force his way into somebody's house. It's against some kind of metaphysical law. So the vampire has to persuade the resident of the household to open the door and invite him in. So they're going to look at the peephole at Barack Obama, which looks like them and appears to be on their side. They're going to say, okay, here's my ally. Let me open the door and let me let this person in. And then Barack Obama is just, of course, a front man for the American empire, where he's going to have the entire U.S. Navy, the entire U.S. Army, and the entire U.S. Marines under AFRICOM command. And, of course, he's going to turn it into a new Iraq, and he's going to turn it into a new Afghanistan. Every operation that you see going on in Iraq and Afghanistan is going to propagate to the poor countries of Africa. And
well, sir, I agree with you. Sir, I agree with you. They're looking to the people. They see a handsome, smiling African face. You know, he's all, hey, I'm from Kenya. And then it's a total bait and switch. But it's the same thing here in the United States where they would get sellout Native American chiefs to sell out their people. This is the oldest trick in the book. And he can also pacify the most downtrodden minority groups in the United States. And he's saying, hey, get ready for sacrifice. Get ready to lose your standard of living. They're like, yay, I love Obama. They could never get away with this with a John McCain.
Obama basically does a couple of things. One is, again, this idea, kick the Chinese out of Africa. Kick them out of Sudan where they get oil. Kick them out of Zimbabwe where they get raw materials. Start a civil war in Congo, another big source of raw materials. Al-Qaeda, an arm of the U.S. intelligence community, is now active in Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco. You've got a destabilization going on in Kenya around Odinga. That's Obama's cousin. This is a guy who has two children. They're Obama's niece and, nephew in a broad sense. And one of them is named Raul, and the other one is named Winnie, after Winnie Mandela, who did the necklace.
All right, folks. Second hour is only minutes away. That's just part of the Obama deception. It's free online. The Obama deception. See it. Give it to others. It's the key to understanding the foreign banking takeover of America. The banksters are white.